I really truly feel with every cell of my body that breathwork creates self-healing, and through this self-healing you experience transformation.
This is episode number 23.
Hey, it's Nick Toth, and welcome to the Beyond Beauty podcast, the place for life-changing conversations for women who are ready to transform their endless pursuit of trying to change their appearances to feel worthy, and finally discover how to value themselves from the inside out. Together, we will redefine beauty and shift your mindset completely so you realize that it is the inner work that leads to external transformation. I'm here to help you remember that authenticity is sexy, self-love is magnetic, and vulnerability is a superpower. Ready, beautiful? Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome back to the Beyond Beauty podcast. I am here today with Ksenia Bloom, who is a founder and mentor of Mystic Within Breathwork Facilitator Training. And she's a powerful activator of the highest potential for truth seekers who are ready to embody their vision, purpose, and dreams. She bloomed her way from selling diamonds in London into facilitating over 30 mind-body detoxification retreats worldwide. And for the last 3 years, she's been focusing her work in Bali and online through wellness immersions, retreats, festivals, and breathwork facilitator trainings. Ksenia's passion and fulfillment comes from creating spaces for self-healing, embodiment, and liberation that creates radical transformation. Ksenia, welcome to the show.
Hi Nick, so epic to be here. Thank you.
What does beauty mean to you, my dear?
What a powerful question you start with. Beauty. There are so many ways to answer that, and what comes through is it's really this radiance which is anchored in femininity, anchored in presence, anchored in embodiment of your true self, and also the word kindness comes through.
What a beautiful way to see that. Can you share with us your personal journey and your transformation of how you transitioned from selling diamonds in London to becoming a breathwork facilitator, mentor, and coach and trainer?
Yeah, thank you. This is such a beautiful journey. Maybe one of the greatest journey I walk through. So I achieved so much. My last job was working for Graf Diamonds in Harrods after dedicating 10 years of my life to flying to Middle East and taking care of royal families. And if you would see me at that time, it looked like I had it all on a picture. But actually deep down, I was quite empty. I did not really knew who I was, despite of being surrounded by the shining things, diamonds, and before that I also worked for fashion, Alexander McQueen, and really top designers. So being in that environment and being surrounded by luxury, actually there came a point when I realized that I feel really empty inside. Nothing was fulfilling, no sales. My last sale was like 19 million, like nothing was making me happy. And I discovered yoga, and I remember myself in Shavasana just really feeling this deep peace within my body, and I'm like, wow, there is nothing to prove. And that's the space which I was really not familiar with. So that sent me into quest, and I started spending more times in ashrams and self-development, Tony Robbins seminars, and meditation courses. And eventually I decided to break free, and I walked out from Harrods. I will never forget that day. Through the front door, you were supposed to take the back door as a staff, and I was just complete, and I knew there is so much more to life than what I had. And a lot of people really could not understand me. They're like, you are so young, you achieve so much, you work for one of the best diamond company in the world, and like, how can you leave this job? But there was like this whisper in my heart urging me to be brave, to be courageous, to explore, and just to follow things which truly were calling me in, which was wellness, healing, expansion. And actually beyond all that, there was a deep longing to get to know myself more. As at my 30s, I left my husband, and I was just like, who am I? I spent all this time in relationships, and I had no idea who I was. So I started my quest and jumped into unknown. And I went traveling for what's supposed to be 5 months, become 8 months. Fiji, Tony Robbins, Life and Wealth Mastery, Vipassana in Thailand, 21 day, 10 day. Florida, Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins, ended up in Bahamas, living in a Shivananda ashram for 3 months. It was so incredible, just like living in a tent, which was smaller than my suitcase. And that was such a humbling experience. And I did my yoga teachers training course, and just first time in my life was living in community and diving deep into meditation, into devotion, into Hinduism. And it was just so fascinating for me. And after that, I came back to Ibiza, where actually I bought a little place for myself on the beach, and I started teaching yoga with donation only, which was obviously a really big contrast to my previous life. And slowly I attracted like-minded people. To be precise, my 2 business partners, one was a mental coach and one was detoxification coach, and we created Almond Blossom Sanctuary, the transformational retreats, and start running retreats in Ibiza. We did actually over 30 retreats over only 3 years, so we really rapidly grew, and that gave me such a deep fulfillment, which my soul was craving for so long.
Wow, what a beautiful story. So you run over 30 retreats worldwide in just a space of 3 years. What are some key insights or experiences that you witnessed in participants during these transformational journeys?
Wow, so many actually. When there is a space of stillness and silence present and attention, when we cultivate self-awareness and forgiveness, it creates such a deep healing. I witness women coming back to their partners who they considered leaving. I witness actually women divorcing their partners, which were not making them happy. We had a 16-year-old girl who suffered through with bulimia, and she was told that she needs to be locked down in a mental institution. And after retreat with us, she went traveling around the world and visiting the friends, the sisters she met in the retreat, and flourish. We saw so many young girls actually who suffered with eating disorders just start having a healthy relationship with themselves and with their body. One of the biggest thing is the cultivation of self-love and forgiveness for the past. So many of us were trying to numb our pain with drugs, alcohol. Everyone have their own devices, and it's observing this slow but sure liberation from those devices, and instead deepening of self-love, of self-trust, and deepening relationship with the bodies, with the heart, with the emotions, and through that deepening relationship with the dreams.
And what tools would you recommend for someone that is on the path of wanting to cultivate more self-love, wanting to explore what embodiment is, and really explore this personal transformation and really step into their own potential and really become comfortable in their own body?
This is such a good question. And the answer which comes through, there is not one way, and I feel it's such a unique path. What really helped me is meditation, prayers, asking for courage to follow my dreams. What helped me, retreats all over the world. It started with yoga, but then yoga was just a pathway to so much more. What my advice to anyone who listening and really wanting to be on that path is to hear the subtle whispers of your heart. If there is a coach or if there is a speaker which you resonate, maybe consider doing some work with them. If there is a Vipassana you want to do very far away from home, but you're scared, make this jump and travel. If there is a course which you don't understand why, but it's been calling you, trust the whispers of your heart. And anything which can connect you deeper to your body would be a massive plus. For some people, it's going to the gym. That is also a great way to connect with the body. Of course, breath work. For anyone who are not familiar with breath work, it's like one of the most powerful way I have discovered, together with plant medicine, for me to drop deeper into my body. Tantra work is incredible to release the shame, release guilt, cleanse your body from the past partners. I would say meditation, self-pleasure, breath work, swimming, and doing the works with coaches. Like, for example, Byron Katie, she has like this big piece about the work around accepting the body parts which you resent. So there are so many ways you can deepen this relationship, but that's definitely the path worth pursuing 100%.
Yeah, there are so many ways and so many modalities, and it comes down to what someone connects with on an individual level, of course. What is the significance of breath work in the process of self-healing and embodiment? How does it contribute to transformation?
Beautiful question. Self-healing, liberation, embodiment. How does the breath work comes in? I really, truly feel with every cell of my body that breath work creates self-healing, and through this self-healing you experience transformation. So, for example, let's break it down in terms of liberation. How does breath work impact or being part of the liberation? When we do this deep, it's almost like, I call it like a date with yourself. You're like diving deep into the archive of your body, which is the library of all the events happened to you in a lifetime, and you start moving through the energetic and emotional residues of unprocessed events. It's like this deep cleanse happening on energetic and emotional and also actually physical level as well. So we liberate the stagnant energy. We liberate unprocessed emotions. And through that liberation, we actually cleanse our body. We experience expansion. We experience emotional liberation. What does that mean? That unprocessed grief perhaps we experience from the old breakup and we jump into the next relationship. That grief is still stored in our body. So by moving that energy physically through your body, you reconnect with yourself. It's almost like you're reclaiming parts of your body, parts of your being into this unity, into this coherency internally. And that coherency internally is expressed externally. So all the internal shifts, all the work you're doing is actually expressing within your environment and within the relationship you have around you. So that's the liberation piece, like really cleansing yourself from past so that you can be fully present with the future and comes and relate to the present and the future from the place of now.
Great. You put that in a beautiful way. If someone doesn't know what breathwork is, how would you describe that just briefly? Like, what is breathwork?
I feel that it is a deepening with yourself, number one. It is possibility to discover what lies under your skin. It's like this empowerment of your inner shaman, inner healer, inner guru, inner teacher. It's reconnection with your intuition. If you're talking about the technique, you're just laying down and breathing deeply, but it's really it's about what happens in this process. And there is, like we talked about, energetic and emotional impact. There is a mental, physical impact, and there is like also a massive part, which is the mystical part. In those spaces, when we activate our DMT, which is generally available in the plants, and we are able to use it through the plant medicine, it's one of the main molecule which allows us to go beyond our conscious mind, which is already such a massive gift, to be outside of your mind. And through that, we're able to connect with the people who passed away. We're able to go back into those traumatic experiences and rewrite our memories, as when we step into those spaces, we have our breath and support. And so we actually change the perception of the trauma which happened previously in the past. We actually releasing the trauma out of our body. We're deepening self-love, because like for most of the time when you finish the breath work, there is this deep sense of reconnection and self-love and self-awareness and understanding like what a hero you are of your journey. So releasing the victimhood and replacing it with this empowered way of looking at your challenging moments in your life. And of course, like connecting with the God, with the universe within yourself, within your heart, and through that being able to have the reference point with the external universal cosmic intelligence. Everyone have their different names to it. It's this internal and external reclamation and reconnection.
Hey there. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and disconnected from your body? You rush through your busy day juggling work and countless responsibilities, and by the evening, you feel completely drained and disconnected from your body. We all know those not-so-wise food choices that follow, right? But what if there was a way to break free from this exhausting cycle? Introducing the Ultimate Self-Connection Practice, a free somatic audio guide I created to help you embrace serenity and overcome overwhelm in just 10 minutes. Feel the weight of stress melt away, replaced by a deep sense of self-connection and peace. To get your hands on this free audio guide, visit my.diktok.com/relax or click the link in the show notes. Beautiful. What are some of the common challenges and blocks that individuals may encounter on their journey of self-healing and liberation? And how does breathwork help address these?
What are the blocks individual encounters on their way of healing? I guess there are so many different modalities, and it can be so confusing, and it's like, what do I choose? Do I dedicate my past to meditation or tantra or breath work or yoga? And I think there is no right or wrong, and I think in every stage of your life there will be the right pathway for you. For me, the opening was yoga, really being able to drop into my body, which I really feel is the place where the wisdom lives. So the confusion and the variety of choices could be overwhelming, and so the invitation is to start with something which draws you in, whatever it is, and keep exploring and keep discovering different modalities, and just really observing the impact in your body. How does it make you feel? What sort of limiting beliefs you are able to shift over the time, and this is something you will be able to discover looking back. So it does take time. So I would advise you to follow the whispers of your heart, follow the curiosity, and really discover how it feels in your body, and how does it make you reflect on yourself. In terms of breath work, for most of the people from the very first session, it's become very, very clear that this is one of the most powerful tools, which kind of cut through the resistance of the mind and just like bring you in the depths of your body, bring you into your past so that you're able to release it. So from just one session of the breath work, and a lot of people say that it's actually equal years of therapy, because rather than being in your conscious mind and just repeating your past again and again, and sometimes our mind distorts the past every time when we enter the memory. Sometimes depends in which state we are, it can change. So here there is no conversations, there is just facts, which are lies within your being. And you are able to discover the unseen forces. You are able to communicate with, people who are no longer here in the physical plane. Some people able to leave their bodies. Some people able to access their memories when they were 3 years old and they never knew why they're scared to sleep without the light. And like they will remember, it gives them a map for a healing and for self-awareness, and also awakening your connection with your own divinity, awakening the connection with your heart and with your body.
And what do you say to people who have resistance to it? Like, for example, for me, breath work, I really have to work myself up to actually do it. It's not something that, it's not an effortless practice, right? Like, it does require work, right? So if someone has resistance to that because it feels like work, or they really easily check out during breath work, what do you offer for them? What do you recommend?
That's a great question. I would recommend to explore working with facilitator one-on-one, because all the attention will be on you. If you check out, the facilitator will be able to keep bringing you back, and that's actually a normal. This resistance, it's part of contraindication. It's actually what is happening. We get numb, we have a physical sensation, and the resistance, it's the kind of a sensation from the mind, because mind doesn't want to go into the traumatic memories. Mind doesn't want to do this work. So that is so normal. You feel this resistance. And so I would recommend to try a private work where you can have the full focus on you, and just give yourself at least a few sessions, because very often what happens, we come in the beginning, we feel this resistance and we perceive that is it. My relationship with the breath work equal resistance, and that might be true. And also what could be true is that every single session is different. And the more you do it, the more your mind have a narrative of coming back, of going into this really unusual places which we cannot explain where, and coming back and feeling more empowered, more energized, more in love with your body, more in forgiveness. And so the more we have this narrative, we're kind of building up that new narrative, and the more that narrative exists, the more mind let go and allow you easily to go and dive into those spaces with less resistance.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. The mind really doesn't want to go to these places, right? We don't want to go into the traumatic, or, sometimes even the resistance can show up as boredom, or as this like strong, maybe even resistance against the practice itself. And I definitely have experienced a wide spectrum of breath work, and yours is very unique in a way that it's a shamanic approach. It's like takes you on this journey that really provides this beautiful space for people to heal. So what are some of the things that you do to create these sacred spaces for individuals to explore their inner world and experience this radical transformation?
Beautiful question. The way I approach a session as a ceremony, and it's so beautiful you reflected that shamanic quality, because I truly believe that through the breath we activate our own inner shaman, our own inner healer, and we use breath as the shaman use plant medicine. So it's our own plant medicine. So for me, creating the space which feels ceremonial, intentions, a prayer. I always pray and set the intention, how do I want my breathers to feel, and what do I want them to take away from this session. And also trying my best to create as safe space as possible through really sharing important information for the breathers to actually, for their mind to relax. So the mind is like, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. This is the sequence, and mind can let go a little bit. And just really connecting with people's energy and full presence, I think, is the key.
Presence, it is indeed. And yeah, I think that you're really unique in that way, that you can provide that space for people. I've seen you have people, maybe 70, 80 people in a session sometimes. And of course you get some helpers and assistants, but yeah, it's just a really, incredibly unique space that enables people to go to these deeper places.
Deeper layer of our multi-level beings, and we are discovering who we really are by checking out from what we think we are and dropping deeper into this unknown space. Yeah,
I think just being able to give ourselves the permission to explore that is such a gift. So if you're listening and you've never tried breath work, I highly encourage that you give it a try and give yourself this gift of exploring what that might be like for you to let go and actually go to that place that you maybe haven't been to. As we wrap up, I would love to ask you some rapid fire questions. Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
If you had to put one subject into the school curriculum that does not exist yet, what would that be? Say for like the high schoolers group.
Oh my God, this is so great. I would put a curriculum which would be called Mystic Within. It's a curriculum which talks about the being side of the human being and developing intimacy with your own being, with your own mystic, with your own teacher, with your own intuition.
It's so important to connect with our intuition, right? And embrace that part of us that has this voice that sometimes is subtle and sometimes can be super loud, and we can sometimes ignore it because sometimes it's more convenient to ignore that part.
And follow someone else rather than follow your own guidance. And also trust in that guidance. We have not been given that permission slip, trust in our own guidance. But the truth is, if we connect to our mystic, we don't need any teachers.
I love that. What has been the most impactful book for you on your journey?
The most impactful book for me was trauma-related books, which I dive in my breathwork course. Presence Process by Michael Brown. Incredible book, highly recommend. It's actually part of my curriculum in my training, where he shows us the path of awareness, how when we come into mother's womb we are vibrational being, and when we are born we become emotional being from the birth till we are 7, and when we're from the 7 to 14 we start developing our mental capacity and we relate with the world through the mental activity, and then from 14 we kind of connect more with our body and start developing sexuality. And it's fascinating book, and he also talks a lot about this emotional imbalances which we experience, fear, anger, and grief. And he actually breaks it down how those emotional imbalances is the same energy expressed through different types of bodies we have. So fascinating book, highly recommend.
I would definitely add that in the show notes. And what do you recommend as a daily practice for women who are wanting to start this journey of self-love and self-liberation and empowerment?
Beautiful. Gosh, there are so many powerful techniques. Okay, why don't I? It's very hard for me to pick one, so I will give you several and explain why. So, coherency breath creates a connection, an exchange between your mind and your heart, and it's basically very easy. It's one of the easiest technique, inhaling through the nostril count of 5 and exhaling through your nostrils count of 5, developed by Heart Math Institute in US. And there are so much research. It's basically relaxing your nervous system. So anytime you feel triggered, then you just need to bring yourself into your body, into present moments, into heart coherence, into harmony is the good word. That would be an amazing technique. One of the most powerful technique, which actually no technique at all, is to develop breath awareness. What does that mean? It's keep deepening your relationship and keep breathing consciously through your life. What does that mean? It means that you keep checking on yourself. Am I inhaling? Am I exhaling? Because very often we are stuck in the past and in the future, anxiety, regrets, guilt, and all that. But when we are truly in the present moment, it's very rare for us to access those emotions. So developing awareness around your breath, and anytime you find yourself off your center, like, am I breathing? Very often we just stop breathing and we're like holding the breath. So immediately when you discover that, find your next inhale and exhale, and just like really learn to flow with this dance and become present. I invite you to look at your breath as if it is your precious lover, which is here to deliver unconditional love to you. So keep bringing breath. That's the most powerful practice you can do on a daily basis. You're arguing with someone, you are in the public transport, you're in a board meeting, you are making love, wherever you do, bring focus attention to your breath, and you will see how it will amplify so much beauty and so much presence towards yourself and towards what is unfolding around you.
I love that. If you haven't sold breathwork by now to people, I will be very surprised. Love, it's so good to have you here, and thank you for sharing all your experience and wisdom and these techniques. I feel like was a very practical episode as well, and really getting people into their bodies and more familiar with breathwork. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Nick. It's been a pleasure to walk my path next to you and see you blooming and just being here with you sharing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And where can people find you? What's a social media platform that you hang out most frequently?
Yeah, I tend to connect mostly through my Instagram, which is Ksenia __ Bloom. And if you go link in bio, you can also check out my website, and feel free to connect. If there are any questions came up and you would like a technique for something else, feel free to connect. It will be an honor to guide you in your journey.
Thank you. You're a treasure.
I hope you got a lot out of this episode. And if you did, please hit follow to subscribe to the show. This way, you'll be notified every time a new episode is released, so you never miss an episode. Also, it would mean the world to me if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. So together, we can spread the word about this show and share this important message and inspire and impact more women around the world. Before I go, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. and taking this time to listen and do something for yourself. You are beyond beautiful. Until next time, remember that authenticity is sexy, self-love is magnetic, and vulnerability is a superpower.